It's 2:05 in the morning, September 24th, 2017. I guess the world did not end on the 23rd, nor did we get raptured. But that's not what this episode is about. It's about unity. What is your opinion of the world today? What does this Bible have to say? Christianity. Welcome to the show. Now, before I start the show, I just want to point out a few things. This show is a show that talks about fringe topics with a Christian point of view. So if that offends you, please turn it off now, and you don't have to be offended. Okay, so I just wanted to point out at the very beginning here that it's September 24th now, and yes, there was an alignment and all this stuff, and the stars and all that, and yes, we have had hurricanes and earthquakes and fires and all kinds of things that are signs of the Lord's coming, but that does not mean that He is going to come right at that moment when we assign a date, okay? We can't just magically assign a date for Him to come and have Him just show up when we want Him to. It's up to the Lord, not us, to make that decision. So, anyway, getting past all of that, because I'm sure there's going to be 1,000 shows saying I told you so, about, how these Christians that were predicting these things, how they were wrong. Because the Bible strictly says that we're not supposed to be about date setting anyway. We're supposed to be about saving souls. That's what we should be concentrating on. Not going, I'm going to get raptured, whatever. I could go into how many reasons why the rapture thing is messed up too. The timing is completely wrong, but I don't know. I'm not going to get into an argument with a bunch of Christians that, want to believe that they're going to just get taken before anything bad happens to them. Meanwhile, over in all these other countries, there's people getting tortured, killed, whatever, for Christ's name's sake. And even Christ and the disciples were not treated well while they were on the earth. But meanwhile, over in America or the Western nations, we teach that we'll get raptured before anything bad happens. Because you can live your best life now then, So anyway, that aside, that's my opinion. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but that's what I have read in my Bible. So anyway, getting on with this episode, I'm sure this will be another unpopular episode like the last one I did, so I just figure I'm talking to a small group of people, so I'm just going to keep it that way for the moment. I'm not going to do any major super episodes with a lot of sound effects and all this stuff because, if that's all people come here for is to listen to all that and hear me talk about, all these different about, science fiction or science or the Antichrist and all these things, then, in my mind, I just want to do the thing that people need to hear, not the thing that they want to hear, And this week, I kind of picked a subject, once again, of something that I have noticed myself, because I don't like to believe everything that I see and hear on TV or on the internet, despite what people might think of me. So, when I look around, and before I started dealing with people a lot, or, having to talk to people that I don't know, from the street or whatever, I just kind of had an image in my mind of, well, this is what I hear, even on Christian broadcasts, about other, not just races, but other religions even. I hear, this is what this group is like, all of them. And this is what this group is like, all of them. That's kind of what a lot of people hear on the news or whatever. We hear a condemning group of all of these people, or all of these people are this way, or all of these people are this way, or a big majority of people are a certain way. And we hear that a lot. And that seems to be the agenda that they're trying to do. They're trying to divide up the people of this earth. They're trying to divide the nations and the people so that they're trying to bring unity by bringing a one world religion, a one world order, a one world government, a one world currency, all this stuff. But at the same time, they're trying to make division so that we fight amongst ourselves, so that we're too busy fighting amongst ourselves to actually notice who the real bad guy is, so that we don't unite and try to stop them, because if the sleeping giant wakes up, it's probably not going to be easy to put it back to sleep if it starts attacking the people who are tying it down to the ground, So that's kind of where I'm coming from on this. And I'm going to go into different aspects of unity. But the reason I called it unity is because I've been dealing with a lot of different people, like I said, doing the job I'm doing recently. And it's been really on my heart lately as I'm talking to different people, and I'm not really beating them over the head with the Bible or anything. I'm just trying to, the way I see it is, if you're going to be a Christian, you need to first know the person individually before you start going on and on and on about the Bible when they really don't understand it completely at that point because they're not a Christian yet. You want to be all things to all people according to the Bible. You want to go to a person that's into a certain thing, and you talk to them about that certain thing. You talk to them honestly from your heart about, hey, you're into this movie. Oh, that's cool. And you talk to them about that movie or whatever. Oh, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? And then you start to feel it out, and those people tend to open up to you, and you basically start to become friends, basically, in a lot of ways. So then you can it's easier to send somebody down the path of the gospel when the person can trust you a little bit, when they know that you're not one of those crazy Christians, when they know that you have a heart, you're intelligent, you are a thinking person. That's when they are more susceptible to hear what you have to say when you talk to them about the Bible, after they know you're not some, crazy Christian that's going to hold up signs saying God hates everybody, because he doesn't. He loves everybody. He hates the sin, of course, but he wishes that none would perish. Okay? So that being said, I've dealt with a lot of people lately, and I know the TV is a bunch of lies, okay? And I know a lot of you already know that too. But if there's anyone I'm reaching in a small group of people that I do talk to on here, I just want you to know that I've dealt with a lot of different races of people, different religions of people lately. And from what I've been my statistic poll, just from me dealing with a certain amount of people every day, and for the last 2 months basically at this job that I'm doing, I have noticed, I guess I've started to have hope for the human race a little bit. I'm not saying that everyone is going to, bow down to Jesus, and serve him, and they're just running to become Christians, because there are not everyone is going to do that, and I don't believe that everyone will. Obviously, in the end times, there will be much persecution, and there'll be a great tribulation, and there'll be many people falling away from the faith. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's what the Bible says. But there are people out there that genuinely don't, they see what's on the TV and see all this division and all this racism garbage, and they're actually just going, you know what, that's not for me, you know. So recently, I've talked to Kenyans. I've had more than a few Kenyan guys I've talked to. In fact, two of them I would love to just, get to know, and I'd probably call them my best friend if I hung out with them a little bit longer, okay? Sadly, I don't get a chance to, hang out with them long enough. But I just really hit it off with a couple of these guys, and when I'm talking to them, they're hesitant when you first start talking to them. And I'm not saying all Kenyans are this way. I'm just saying this is my experience as I've dealt with people, okay? And you start off and they're, hesitant. And I think the hesitant to talk is because of the things they see on the TV. Because they see I'm a white guy. And then they're black. So there's instantly we're supposed to be a little scared of each other, because that's what the TV has taught us, that we're supposed to, be at odds with one another, which is a bunch of crap as far as I'm concerned. But then you start talking to them, and you start showing them that, hey, like I brought up, and I'm probably going to be repeating myself. I say this all the time on the show, but I brought up, that I've been out of the country. I've been to the Philippines. I've been there twice at least, and I've been there for quite a while at a time. So, and instantly when I started saying this guy opened up. He seen that I had been out of the country, and both of them really did. The ones that I talked to a lot about this, but I've talked to other Kenyans or black people in general about this. But I just think it's interesting with the Kenyan guys that they're very enjoyable to talk to when it comes to this type of subject about, experiencing the world, because that's what these people are living in America, but they still love their country and they still have family in their home country. And so they're basically, I was being told that, hey, both me and these guys all agreed that everybody should leave the comfort that they're in their country and go out into the world and see another country, preferably a third world country, so you can really see a different nation, not this, let's go over there because, well, hey, they got all the best, beaches and they got the best resorts. I'm not talking about resorts and all this high life, staying in the wonderful hotels. I'm talking about going over to another country and seeing real people as they live in another country without all the glamorized BS, So me and these guys all agreed, and we're opposite races, so we're supposed to be against each other according to George Soros, who pays Black Lives Matter and all these other groups to divide amongst each other. But, we're sitting here agreeing as we're talking to each other, totally about, hey, the world would be better if we got out of our comfort zone and went out and actually seen other places, and we could actually experience other kinds of people in their own environment, so that we're not sitting in our own environment and just getting brainwashed by our own media and just living in this world of fear in a cage that we're being locked up in. Well, there's so much more in the world and so much more beauty and better things to experience. And there are good people in the world too. Because for a long time, I was kind of, really hateful toward the human race. And I still am to a certain degree when it comes to certain things that come up in the news, certain things that are going on that I disagree with. And I'm sure everyone's that way. But I just wanted to, I just can't believe, that when I started talking to different people from different races and different parts of the world, right away, we all had a common ground. I think that it gave me hope, because there's a lot of people out there that we're seeing on TV, and it's being projected at us, that we should be afraid. We should be afraid of what that other person's thinking, what they want. We we have to be politically correct. We don't want to say anything that's going to upset anybody or offend anybody, or, anything that, everybody can get offended by a different thing, no matter what it is. It could be anything at any time, any given time, at any given, time of the day. Anything could offend anybody. So then if we go down the road with that in mind, we won't say anything. We'll just shut up. We'll censor ourselves. And that's exactly what this New World Order global agenda is to get everyone to censor themselves. That's just what the Nazis did. It's no different. I mean, and the Socialist Party, the Nazi Party, which we have a socialist party in our country too, but a lot of the people we see in the streets, it's a setup. It's a bunch of fake crap where people are brought in on buses to get masks on and be racist toward people because they're paid. And it always comes back to, the Craigslist ads where George Soros is funding groups, crowdfunding, I think that's what they call it. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. So what we're seeing on TV is a projected thing that's supposed to be magnified to all the people who are watching the TV, when it's really a small, select few that is actually trying to control the big, giant amount of people in a nation. So the small percentage of sellouts, basically, who are willing to sell out in, I'll take that money, I'll go smash things and go throw a fit, I'll go wear that white KKK thing if it makes me money, so that I can make division in my own country and racism look like it's coming back, It's fake. It's an illusion, I believe. Yes, there is racism still, but I don't believe it's to the high percentage rate that this media in our country projects it as. In fact, I think it's at a very low rate. I think, from what I've just experienced myself, most people, and I know this because I've heard this from black people, most people don't care about all that crap they see on TV. Most people just want to go to work and survive. And they all would agree that they don't like paying taxes because it's way too high. They don't like having all this stuff forced down their throat from the government. They would all agree that they would like to be able to buy things with the money that they work hard for and not have it taken away. I'm pretty sure that a good 90% of people would agree with that because it's beneficial to them. But sadly, we don't see that on TV. We see another side. And we see it in movies. It's propaganda movies. There's propaganda going on in movies, in Netflix TV shows, in regular TV shows. There's so much propaganda being beaten us over the head nowadays. And the fact that everyone's addicted to their phone and they're just kind of numbing themselves because, the world is just not happy. So it's like they're trying to get their mind out of the world. So they're basically going back to sleep by just, selfieing and having, doing whatever they want, going out and partying, whatever. So it's just they're trying to numb the stuff that they see on the TV so that they don't have to feel it. And sadly, I think that people are going to get even more numb. And also, it's part of the problem is the fluoride that's in everything. All these flu shots and all these things, all these chemicals that we're getting constantly beaten over our heads with We're getting, our food is unnatural. It's foodless food, basically. It's all chemical based. Our medicine is chemicals. All these things are getting into our body, and all this stuff. I mean, autism is skyrocketing, and eventually all kids will be born autistic, basically, if we keep going at this rate. And, no one talks about that. It's just all of these things. All of it's negative. All of it's not positive. But the reason why I wanted to do this podcast is because I'm tired of that. I'm tired of all the negative and all this, and I am good for it. Trust me. I will be the first to admit that I am a negative. Yes, I will look at the negative stuff, and I will get, angry. I'll get, depressed a little bit. I'll just, I want justice. And so I will try to put something out there, and I'll expose it, and say, hey, this is what the problem is. And usually it's a negative thing that I'm showing you. This is the problem. We need to fix this. We need to fix this. But, I'm wrong by doing that so much. And I'm the first to admit it. I'll admit it, okay? I'm wrong. I shouldn't be just looking at the darkness. Because if I'm honest and I'm really a Christian, I should know that the Lord's got this. He can handle these things. Yes, these things are bad, but He is the avenger. He will be the one who avenges us for these things. And it's going to be a bloody mess when He avenges us for these things. But He will take care of it. He will straighten this out. All knees will bow to Jesus. That's what it says. Not because He hates people and He's a ruthless dictator, like, some people might think. No. It's because they chose not to. They hate Him. They're trying to make war against Him. And He's the king. He will come and He will be the rightful king. And He does care about us. Obviously, He went to a cross for us. Anybody who's willing to die for you, you tend to might have a little bit more respect for them if they're willing to die to save you, But I'm getting off my point. Anyway, my point is, I've been dealing with a lot of good people lately, and it's brought me hope. And I don't believe that I don't believe that the world is going to be kumbaya, all this wonderful stuff. And I don't think the world is going to get, better in the future, because the Bible says that the world is dying. It's dying. And in the end, it will be burnt up. Every building, every church, everything you see will not stand after Jesus returns. It says even the mountains will melt in His presence when He's coming. If the mountains are melting, I got news for you. I don't think the cathedral that somebody built and did all this artwork in is going to stand when the mountains are melting. So you see what I'm saying? Everything's going to be flattened out, and everything will be, whatever. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't claim to know all that. I don't know everything. But my point is the thing that matters to Jesus is not all these buildings, all these things. It's the soul. That's the most important thing of all. Getting the soul saved. Not even our bodies. Because obviously we die. And, Jesus, He didn't seem to care about, he talked like, the body's a temple or whatever. But it's only the vehicle our soul is driving, basically. That's how I describe it anyway. So, if we died as a martyr, this body doesn't matter. Maybe in this world it might stand for something, and maybe other people will become Christians because of it. But the body itself, it's, who cares what they do to our body? It's what they do. It's what our soul has. I'm saying it all wrong. Our soul is what matters anyway. I'm just babbling. Anyway, getting back to the point, is I've come to have a lot more hope dealing with these people, and I know I've said that too much. So I've talked to Indian people from India even, and I actually got along. I get along with those guys really well. A lot of these guys, I've met a lot of Indian people, and it's like, geez, these guys are awesome. I mean, they're just very family orientated. They're very thoughtful and kind, pleasant mannered people from the people I've met. I haven't met any that is really snobby or stuck up, you know. They're very smart. And that's just a great, they're just, yes, maybe they have millions of gods in their country and all these things. But, you know, on a personal level, I can talk to them and they can understand me, and we can have agreeances on a lot of things. And if we can agree on a lot of things and we can talk about things, just general day-to-day things, we could also eventually be able to come together and talk about spiritual things as well. So it's good to start off with a good normal, you know, getting to know somebody. We have to have patience with people. And that's something that they're teaching me. I'm not the all-knowing, you know, person here. I'm learning from this situation with me meeting and talking to other people of other races and other walks of life. And that's teaching me. It's changing me. It's not me. Yeah, it's not me, you know, having a closed mind. It's opening my mind up. I'm not opening it so far up that my brain is falling out and that I'm starting to follow their gods and their religion. No. Don't misunderstand me here. Okay? I'm not going to walk away from Jesus and join a one-world religion, because that's not the unity that this podcast is talking about, okay? I just want to get that straight. I am not endorsing a one-world religion by saying unity. I'm saying unity as in we all are part of a human race. We can unite under that. Technically, we're all imagers of God. So He made us in His own image. So we're all brothers and sisters in that. We're supposed to be a family, despite what anything the media can tell you. But these guys are just great. I could talk to them, and they're just very easy to talk to. Very easy to talk to, in fact. And like I said about the Kenyans, and just regular people in general. It doesn't matter what color you are. I have to bring up the colors in different races because I'm pointing out that I'm a white guy and I'm talking to another person of a different race. So I'm showing you the difference in our cultures and how we really are all the same. Because these guys are not talking to me about color, race, and all that. They don't care about that. The most important thing is the content of your character. That's what Martin Luther King said. And that guy, I think, was a very good man. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, I'm a white guy. I realize I'm not supposed to look up to a black man. But that guy was a very, very well-spoken and very intelligent man. And if that guy was around, if they would have let him live, I think that guy would have gone on to be better things. He probably would have been running for president if he was around longer, I think. And if he was going to be the first black president, now I would have voted for that guy. I mean, that guy is like completely night and day from what Obama was. So it's not about racism. It's about the content of the character, as he said. So my point is, these people are all, they're easy to talk to. They're very well people are just not the way we are projected on TV. And I think I'm just repeating myself, but we got to get past the idea that everybody is as we are told. And the reason I'm saying that is because the next one, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of you that will say that is going to be judgmental of this next one. Muslims. Okay? This I wanted to get into. I was going to do a whole show just on this alone, but I don't think I will devote a whole show to this. Okay, Muslims. I've never dealt with one in my life until recently, and now I've dealt with quite a few of them from different kinds of Muslims, okay? And you got to remember this. There are different kinds of Muslims. There's not just one Muslim. Yes, they read the Quran. Yes, the Quran does teach very bad things. But now that we agree on that, and their God is not the God of the Bible either. And their God is probably a demon, and Muhammad was not a good guy, and I disagree with all of that crap. But now, as I have dealt with Muslims, I know one thing that I have learned. This is something I actually learned from a Muslim. He told me that they have to have this. They have to have the Quran translated for them. They are not able to just go out and read the Quran like we read the Bible. And all these Christians have different ideas, say like when the rapture is or certain things in the Bible. And everyone's got their own different, views from what they read in the Bible. And the Catholic Church used to have, the priest was the one that could read the Bible to you, much like Islam, which is very interesting that those two share that in common. But anyway, and even today, people would rather have their pastors read the Bible to them than for them to actually have to read anything in the Bible. Sadly, this is true. Christians are just as guilty as the Muslims I just talked about who have to have a translator, because Christians in America, there's a good chunk of Christians that go to church on Sunday, listen to a couple quick reads from the Bible, a little bit of positive, upbeat scripture notes, and they hear a bunch of concert music, and then they have some coffee, talk with their friends, and they go home. The rest of the week, they live out a life that has nothing to do with Christianity. They don't live it, they don't breathe it, they don't do nothing. And then they go back on Sunday, and they do it all over again. Okay? And there are Muslims exactly the same as that. We have to keep in mind, if Christians are talking about, how other Christians are fake Christians, or, just, cultural Christians, or just, country club Christians, the ones that are just doing it for social, whatever. Okay, we're talking about our own group of people badly in that regard, right? And I can agree that that's the way it is, because I have seen it firsthand myself, that there are Christians that don't actually know what they really believe in, even though they say they're Christian. Now, let's look at Muslims. I know for a fact that there are Muslims exactly the same as those Christians. There are Muslims that have no idea what the Quran says, because those Muslims are good. They're actually nice people. They're very nice people. They're mannered. They're very nice. And I realize there's going to be a certain group of Christians that is going to just about hate me for saying that, but it's the truth. I'm not saying I condone the Quran or say that Muhammad is good. I'm not condoning. I'm just saying that I have met Muslims that are just as ignorant as some Christians who don't read the Bible. Those Christians who don't read the Bible, guess what they say? They talk about how, oh, Joel Osteen, he seems like a nice guy. Oh, he's such a nice man. Or, these pastors, these people that tell them their Bible, and they have a nice, upbeat speech about love and peace and harmony and all that stuff. Well, they go on about how, those people are great, and they're so nice and everything seems so loving, and Jesus loves everyone. Well, the Muslims have the same kind of stuff. Some Muslims don't actually read the Quran. Like I said, they have to have somebody translate it for them. So what happens is they're just like the Christians. Of course, they don't believe in the same God. I understand all that. But what I'm saying is they're just as ignorant, because they're going in there and they're having someone tell them what Allah says and all the peaceful, wonderful things, because it's a good idea to get people to believe that Islam is peace by having a translator translate the Quran and only read the positive things. Just like Joel Osteen only reads the positive little happy things in the Bible. Doesn't read about how, the disciples went through persecution and they did not live their best life now. Well, the same thing happens to the Muslims. And I'm not saying we should start, taking on their religion and bowing to their God. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that they are just as deceived as some Christians are. They need Jesus just as bad as other Christians who are not hearing the actual Bible for what it's truly all about. A lot of Christians go to church and they hear 5 sentences from the Bible and they think, well, that was so nice. Jesus died for us. Isn't that so sweet? What a wonderful, loving God. Yes, he is a wonderful, loving God. But there's other parts of the story. There's actually people who he said, let the, dead bury the dead. He's telling people to pick up their cross or put their hand to the plow and don't look back. He's telling people hard truths. Now, that's Jesus. He is the real God, okay? But you got Muslims, on the other hand, going to a mosque, and they're hearing all the positive couple, little things in there, and, it sounds to me like, that Allah is love, right? Because that's what they're being told. The same thing. Same crap. They don't know that I'm not saying all of them don't know. I'm saying that there's a certain group of Muslims that are not really Muslims as far as I'm concerned. They're just people who are looking for happy things in life. They don't want to hear about the negative. And there's those type of people in every walk of life. I don't care where you go in the world, you're going to see somebody who just wants to talk about positive things. They don't want to hear about the negative. They're so tired of the negative. The news makes all this negative. They don't want to hear about that. And it's going to be the same with Muslims. It's going to be the same with Christians. What I'm saying is we're on an equal playing field here. Our gods are not equal. Obviously, Jesus is the Lord, okay? The real God, okay? The Creator, his Father, is the real God, the one that actually created things. But my point is they're easily deceived, just like Christians are nowadays. And that might be hard for some people to take, but that's the truth. I've talked to some Muslim girls, and one of them, ironically enough, this is something that blows my mind. The Muslim girl's name was Fatima. That's very, very interesting, isn't it? When we talk about Fatima, we think instantly of a Catholic, a Mary vision that appeared in front of 3 boys. Remember that? Oh, at Fatima that happened. But did you know that Fatima was Muhammad's daughter's name? Yeah, Muhammad's daughter's name was Fatima. So when my wife tells me that she went to a Catholic college or whatever in the Philippines, and she tells me that the name of it was Our Lady of Fatima, that's the name of the school. Our Lady of Fatima. Our Lady suggesting that it's Mary, but Our Lady of Fatima. Fatima being Muhammad's daughter's name. Isn't that something? Well, anyway, my point is Muslims are deceived. They need Jesus. Christians are being deceived. They still need Jesus. People who don't know God need Jesus. All these people need Jesus. That's the point. That's the whole thing. And it's just interesting that Muslims, the name Fatima came up. I just had to point that out because that was very interesting. And it gave me a whole new perspective when the girl's name was Fatima. And and these people don't seem like they don't even know the Quran. I mean, these people couldn't quote it. These are young people. The young people are just they're becoming Americanized. They don't really care about the Quran and all that stuff. Just like Christians nowadays don't really care about the Bible. A lot of these young people don't care about the Bible, just like young people don't really care about the Quran. It's just they're becoming unreligious because of their trying to be part of the culture. But basically, we all can unite under one flag, and that's Jesus. And that's the point. Is all these people need Jesus. We're not divided. We're one race. The human race, according to God. He doesn't see our skin. And of course, Muslims, that's a religion. And those people need Jesus. So we have to stop just going, oh my God, they're all out to kill us. Okay? There's not all Muslims are out to kill us. Some Muslims are deceived. Just like some Christians are deceived. Okay? We have to actually try to talk to these people sometimes and try to actually see what they're about before we actually throw them all under the bus and say all of them are coming to kill us. That's just something I've learned. And whether people like it or not, that's just how I see it now. So let's be all things to all people. Let's reach people on a human level. And let's not beat each other over the head. Let's come to each other as brothers and sisters of the human race. Let's pray for each other. And let's care and actually legitimately care for people. Even if they are another religion. Let's care that they get saved. Don't worry about setting a date for the end of the world or for our own raptures. Let's worry about saving souls so that they can be raptured too one day. And with that, thank you for listening. If you like this show, you can also find us under Leo Rutledge on YouTube. That's all capital letters, Leo Rutledge on YouTube. Shows like this in audio will be up on the YouTube channel, as well as video shows where I talk about other stuff as well. So check out Fringianity on YouTube under Leo Rutledge. Also, please check out the Fringianity Underground podcast Facebook group for show posts and Fringianity YouTube show posts as well. Also check out the Bible Underground. The Bible Underground is a electronic truther Christian / rock band music project that I'm working on. I'd really like your support. So if you enjoy my show, please support my music. I'm on Amazon, iTunes, wherever you download your music. And there's also a Facebook page and a YouTube channel devoted to the Bible Underground. So please check them out. So if you've listened through all of that, I want to say thank you for putting up with me. And thank you for listening to the show. And thank you for showing your support. God bless.